Hi everyone, I'm Pat Prokop in the heavenly backyard garden. Tonight I want to take a look at an object low in my southern sky just above the tree line over there, and it's in the constellation Serpens. And the nebula that I'm looking at is M16, Messier 16, also known as the Eagle Nebula. And within the Eagle Nebula, we find the pillars of creation. It's a fantastic target to view, particularly if you're in the southern latitudes. Northern latitudes is going to be really tough because it's low up in the sky. Now the camera that I'll be using is the Player One Poseidon M. It's a monochrome camera, wonderful camera, and I have the electronic filter wheel attached to it with 7 filters in there, one of course being a luminance filter, a UV-IR cut filter. I have a red, green, and blue. Those are the Antlia filters. And I added in here the SvBONY Narrowband filters, 5 nanometer wave cut filters to capture the Eagle Nebula in SHO, the Hubble palette. The telescope that I'm using is the OIII-CCD 130 millimeter refractor, and the combination of this telescope and this camera and filter wheel and these filters should result in fantastic images. I'm going to be showing you images in the narrowband and in the broadband. Broadband, of course, is true color. The narrowband gives much more details. Welcome to Heavenly Backyard Astronomy. So now everything is set up, ready to go. All I need to do now is wait for nightfall, and I've already waited for that. I took these images about 3 weeks ago when we had a period of clear skies, a rarity in these parts, a clear sky in the late spring, early summer months. But right now, I'm going to go upstairs inside and go into Pixinsight, and let's take a look at how I process these images and then the final results. And I think you're going to be amazed. Let's go on inside.
So what do we know about Messier 16? Well, it's about 7,000 light years from Earth. It is also known as the Eagle Nebula, sometimes dubbed as the Star Queen Nebula. Also within this region contains the famous Pillars of Creation, made famous by the Hubble Space Telescope crew back in the middle 1990s, 1995 to be exact. And the location of the nebula is low in the southern sky. Now let's turn on the devices here in Stellarium, and there you can see the constellations and Scutum and Serpens and Ophiuchus. That area there is where the Messier 16 is located. Scutum is also known as the shield, and there you can see Serpens, the snake wrapping around in the arms of Ophiuchus. In that area of the sky. A lot of mythology going on over here. But if we can zoom in on the nebula itself, there you can see in Stellarium, for example, the rich area of stars developing in that region. This is in a region like the Orion Nebula and others, a region of new star birth, particularly in and around the pillars of creation. So with that being said, let's get into the processing of the images from the telescope that I took outside. Not the Hubble Space Telescope, but this is the OIII-CCD 130 millimeter refractor telescope. So let's go into Pixinsight. I'm in Pixinsight right now, so the first thing I want to do is stack these images together. Now you could do that in Deep Sky Stacker, or if you have Cirro, you can do that as well, but I like to use Pixinsight for these type files. So the first thing I do is go over here into Script, and then batch processing, and then weighted batch pre-processing. And it takes a few seconds for this routine to load up into Pixinsight, but there it's right there. All right, now I preloaded these, but to do that, all you have to do is hit your lights, and then go into the file where you have your frames stored. In this case, let's say the S2. You select the files that you want to add in there, and then you say open, and it's okay. All right, I already did that, and there they are right there, the S2, the O3, and the HA. Now, with the Poseidon camera, I really don't need to take dark frames. I mean, this camera is amazing. And also, I can get away without taking flats, providing there's no dust or dirt on the image frame or on the lens itself, on the filters, I can get away without taking flats, as you'll see in just a second. But to make sure, when you are in Pixinsight, after you have loaded in your lights, you go into calibration, you click on this, and right there, and it goes into your calibration settings. You want to make sure the darks and the flats are turned off if you're not using darks and flat. It defaults to the boxes being checked, so you want to uncheck those. I think you don't have to. I think it'll just give you an error message and run the program anyway. Next thing you want to do is make sure you have a folder selected to put your files into, which I have done. I made it M16, appropriate. Select the folder, okay, and there it is, M16. I don't really have to do anything. Post-calibration, I can drizzle the image if I want to, and sometimes it's recommended, but it takes longer and it makes those files really big. They're already big to begin with this Poseidon camera. So I'm not going to drizzle, but to drizzle you just hit Enable here, and then you can scale it up to 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go with the standard straight file and go with that. All right, and then you just say right here, you go hit run, and it takes it off from there. So I just did that, and let's go into the final phase of running the weighted batch pre-processing script. All right, we're finished, and it took 24 minutes and 35 seconds. And so now let's take a look at the images themselves inside of Pixinsight. So I can hit done here and done here, and from there, we go into this, we close that out, we don't need it anymore, and we just need to load in the new images, open, and let's go into the area where I saved it, Astro M16, Master, and go into the auto-cropped images. There's one right there, oops, don't need that one, and that one right there. That's the hydrogen alpha, the sulfur, and the oxygen 3. All right. And just close out these noise files here. All right, let's just take a peek right here real quickly. This is the sulfur 2. Not bad. The oxygen 3. Looking good. And the hydrogen alpha. Looking wonderful. All right, let's process these images into one final color, SHO, and an HOO image. All right, let's first of all change the names to these images right here. This is the HA, so let's just right-click on that and identifier and give it the name. Just simply HA will do just fine. Okay. And this one here, this is the O3. So again, right-click, identifier, O3. And be careful you don't go 03, but O3. And this one here should be the sulfur 2. Oh, that's right here, sulfur 2. And identifier, again, S2 will be just fine. All right. So now we have those in order there. Since I stacked this in batch processing as the weighted batch pre-processing in Pixinsight, it automatically solved the images and aligned them so they're all aligned. So I don't have to worry about realigning the images. Now, if you stack them in another program such as Deep Sky Stacker, you'll need to align these images simply by going into image align somewhere around here. I got it in the star alignment. Do a star alignment to align all your images. But that's already been done since it's been stacked inside of Pixinsight. So the next thing I'm going to do is just to make sure, I'm going to pick the reference file here, and I think I'm going to use the hydrogen alpha because that is such a nice clean image right there. And I'm going to go into this linear fit process here, and I made a shortcut over here. And what I'm going to do is going to take the hydrogen alpha and just drop it into this box here as my reference image, and then I'm going to I'm going to linear fit the other two images with that, just to make sure everything is okay. Doesn't take too long, just hit a stretch over again, and there's the image. And the other one I want is the O3. Again, just take this triangle and drop it in there. And when it's done, you'll just need to do a restretch on it. There it is. So they all should be about the same background, hopefully. So I could combine these images right now. So let's just do that real quickly. We can close this out right here. And I'm just going to do an RGB combination here. And for the red, I'm going to use the sulfur. I mean the sulfur, SHO. So sulfur 2 right here is what I want. Okay. And then the hydrogen alpha, I want this one right here. And then for this one here, I want the oxygen 3. Okay. And then just hit the circle here, and there it is. Of course, you need to stretch it. And there's your SHO image, which has a lot of green in there. That's okay. We'll work on that in just a minute. Now, I'm going to minimize this and show you another way that I like to do it. I like to process these images individually and then go through a histogram transformation, go from linear to nonlinear, and then add my images together, combine the images together. So let's do that. Just minimize that because I'm going to be needing it a little bit later. So I'm going to do a blur exterminator on each one. Okay, all three have been blur exterminated. So the next thing that I like to do is go into, open up the stretch screen transfer function and go into the histogram transformation, take each image. I'm just going to hit the do sign there and then take this little triangle, drop it down into here. There's all different ways of doing this. This is the way I like to do it. And this should turn white. It did. And then you hit this little screen over here, and that puts it back into the perspective. So it's going from linear to nonlinear. Here, here, and here. There, 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 there. Whoops, missed. I didn't grab it. There we go. And stretch. And okay. So now I can close these out. These are now all nonlinear. So let's put them over here where they belong. Let's minimize them first of all. I'm going to do that and that and that. Let's just put them up. There's that's going to be the green. That's going to be the blue. And that's going to be the red, but not yet. Well, yeah. All right. Go back into channel combination. And again, these are the same. So just say, okay. So let's take a look at a difference here between the two. And there's the nonlinear and the linear here. You can see this one actually is a better picture. This one has a lot of purple in there. This one has more of the true SHO image in it. Okay, let's still minimize that. And let's use this one right here. And the next thing that I do is now I do star exterminator on this one right here. So we'll do star exterminator. Doesn't take too long on this computer. I got a graphics card on here. All right, there's the stars. And the stars are a bit on the purple side. We'll deal with that later. I'm just going to first of all change the ID to that for reasons you'll see a little bit later. I'm just going to call it stars. Okay. And I'm going to minimize it for right now. Call it right there. And this one here, I got several ways I can edit this. I could edit it manually, or I could try it with the narrowband normalization routine. All right. But first of all, I'm just going to make a copy of this just for safety. There's the copy right there. So I'm just going to minimize that, put it over here. And then let's go into this image, or this routine here, narrowband normalization, and turn on a preview. And then just hit the defaults here. Should get something there. Okay. Now, the SCNR control and subtract the color of green in here. So let's do that. Let's move out the green. You can see it coming out as I pull it over. It turns more of that golden color. Let's keep it right there. I want some of that green. Let's go about halfway across. All right. And then the O3 boost, that'll bring up the blues. See how the blues are changing? There we go. It's got a little bit of light. I like that. And the S2 boost will bring up the reds. You got red there. Let's go back to the green. Add a little bit more green back in there. I got to grab it. Now you have these objects to play with over here. The lightness, you can turn it on or off. Preserve. You can go into HA. The other ones don't really apply to this setting here, as you can see. And let's go with the HA. Looks pretty good. All right, now let's go over here and play with the light contrast. If you bring that down, it brings it up. So you want to bring the lightness down. And already that's looking pretty good. Okay, and I don't know. I mean, you can play with these all day long. Let's just say, okay, let's hit the execution square here. Okay, and let's just now do that. And there's your image there. Now, from here, if I want, I can play with it even more by going into curves. Hit a preview plane here. And let's, well, I don't know, let's play around with it. See what happens here. You can do that. That's too much. Bring this down a little bit. You can go over here to the saturation, bring up the saturation. Play with that. Okay, there's the saturation. You can go with the colors. Play with the reds. Like so. I like that blue in the middle there, so I'm pushing with that. So let's play with the blue and the green. And high level blues. How about the low levels? Let's knock out this blue over in this area here. I kind of like that. I do like having some of that green in there. Boy, it looks sharp, doesn't it? Look sharp. Look at that. Looks like a rainbow over there. I want a little bit more red. There we go. Let's go into Noise Exterminator. Just drop that in there. And watch this area right over in here. Yeah, see how it cleaned it up? Zoom in a little bit more. There's the after. There's the before. See how it's noisy? After. Okay, I like that. All right. Now the next thing I got to do, I'm going to rename this into Starless. Okay. Now I'm going to have a subroutine set up over here. It's going to take the, this is the equation for adding the stars back into the image. And, oops, hit the wrong button. So it's tilde, parentheses, parentheses, left side, tilde, starless, image, times, then parentheses, left side, tilde, stars, right parentheses, right parentheses. That's your equation. And it just adds the stars in there. There we go. And this is your final image right here. Now it's upside down in my opinion, so let's just go into image, image geometry, rotate 180. There we go. And there you have in there, I might have blown it out a little bit there, the pillars of creation. Let's just real quickly go into curves. There you can see the pillars nicely there. All right. So what I want to do next is I'm going to go back in those stars. Where are they? Stars. Too many purple stars. I'm going to take out a lot of that purple. So I'm just going to do the SCNR on that. Well, first of all, I want to do is to go into image, invert. Now the invert of purple is green. So now I want to take that green out, which is purple, once I back invert it. Okay, and then go back into image and invert, or I can just hit Control-I on the Windows machine. Now, let's add the stars. I like that much better. That versus the other one. Okay. Let's just hold on to Control key and bring this and drag it into this one here. Now, let's compare the two. As we zoom in, there you can see. Now, some people like the purple stars. I don't. I like basically the white stars and the remaining color stars. But I like this one better. There you can see. Pillars showing up, the nice stars there. Actually, I did a better contrast on this one, but I like the stars better in this one here. But it just shows you can do, all day, spend your time playing with these functions over here all day long. But that's how I do it. That's on the SHO. Let's take a quick look at the HOO. Let's do an HOO, and just for funs and giggles. That looks pretty. That looks almost closer to the true color image that you would find with the pillars of creation. And a lot of the narrowband, the HOO will do you very, very good. You can play around with these and so forth. You can play with this and get it and so forth and so on. What about the broadband image? Let's take a look at that. So there's the broadband image right there. And that's the starless image there, and this is the RGB image combined. And that came out pretty nice too. All right, let's take a look at, and processing this is basically the same way. Let's take a look at a couple other images that I've been working on. It's right in the same area here, here, and the Veil Nebula. Here's the Veil Nebula in SHO. I mean, that looks pretty good too. And here's the Veil Nebula in HOO. I haven't done the broadband yet on this, but I mean, that looks pretty good. This is 3 hours total, 1 hour each on each channel. And actually, in this case, this is a 2-hour image here. This is a 3-hour image over here because I have an hour's worth of sulfur 2 in this one, no sulfur 2 in this one at all. All right, and then the Trifid Nebula only in HOO, and there you can see it looks pretty good. I mean, that's only about an hour and a half, maximum 2 hours. I don't think it was quite 2 hours image on that. But my next video, I'm working on this. I'm going to show you these two together and processing them as well. All right, let's go back outside.
So I don't know which one I like better, the broadband with the true color, I mean that looks really good, or the narrowband with the more details that you can see within the narrowband. You have the SHO, the sulfur, hydrogen alpha, and the oxygen, also known as the Hubble palette, and also the HOO, the hydrogen alpha for the red, and then the oxygen for the blue and the green, or the green and the blue. Anyway, these the pictures are just, you know, amazing to me. And there's so many more targets out in this area that I'm working on. I got M20, the Trifid Nebula, and just below that, it's even lower in the southern sky, is the Lagoon Nebula, Messier 8. There's more out there, of course, higher up in the sky, almost straight overhead in the summer months. You have the North America Nebula, which always lends to fantastic images, and I'll be showing you some of those. And the Veil Nebula, I'm working on that. I'm going to show you a little preview of that in just a second, and a little preview of the Trifid Nebula, but more videos about that coming up shortly, hopefully, in the next few weeks, depending on the sky, if we can stay clear in our area. That's going to be a big if. Anyway, thanks for all those that have been supporting my channel. I appreciate that. Super thanks. The joining the channel, and going into my Patreon subscription as well. I appreciate all of that, and everybody who has been contributing to help this channel up and running. And remember, the heavens are filled with majestic wonders, and they're all in a sky near you. So unless you need rain, clear skies, everyone.